We have a RetroCult restoration emergency going on here. At a local flea market, I found some 80s LJN Wrestling figures that were in need of some repair for certain. And I had to take a gamble at 25 cents each just to see if it would work. So it was pretty much science experiment time. Started off with soap and water, which did absolutely nothing. The paint just kind of laughed at me as I did that, and I thought, man, I'm actually going to lose these two action figures, which was going to stink in a lot of ways. But then I went in for round two, and I did isopropyl rubbing alcohol. I'd used that before on a previous project with some old Marks figures that I had, and the paint came off great. As you can see in this video, it was quite the tedious task, but in a while you could start to notice that the LJN figures were starting to show out from under all of that gray latex paint, and it was time to see what was going to go on under those. A little bit of history about the LJN Wrestling figures. When LJN first started, it was mostly Hollywood focused things. They did things like Emergency and Magnum PI, Indiana Jones, and I think their big score was probably E.T. But in 1984, the LJN Wrestling series was launched, and one of the big things about the LJN Wrestling figures that I don't know that I really paid particular attention to as a kid, but I do kind of remember this, was their scale. Unlike most action figures that were all the exact same size, the LJN toys were built to scale. Roddy Piper was about 8 inches tall, but Andre and Big John Studd were way taller and much wider. And some of the larger figures like Hillbilly Jim that you see here and Andre the Giant were about a pound of solid rubber, and that's pretty crazy to think about. They were great to play with, and they were also kind of fun, if we're being very honest, to whack your little brother in the back of the head with if he did something to get on your nerves. As you look at these two figures that I'm cleaning up aren't exactly the grails that people are looking for, although I think the second one that I clean up is probably a little bit more popular than Hillbilly Jim. The grails are actually from Series 6, which occurred in 1989. LJN was going out of business, and a Canadian company, Grand Toys, took over. And the weird thing that they did, and I probably need to dig a little bit deeper and find out why they chose to do this, is they changed the iconic blue and purple backgrounds that all of the cards had for all the wrestlers, and they changed it to black for that last release of figures. And some of the more popular figures, if not the most popular figure in that one, is probably the Ultimate Warrior. One of the more rare figures, and definitely one that I think lots of people would consider a grail. You have Andre in his iconic black outfit that he wore in wrestling as well. But it was, I think that was a very unique thing that they did. And recently, with the re-release of these action figures, I noticed that the black background was also the chase. So maybe that's something that they did purposeful, looking back at the old toys. The Hillbilly Jim came out in 1985. He's Series 2. The Iron Sheik that I'm cleaning up here is actually part of Series 1 that came out in 1985. He was the absolute villain to Hogan's American Hero back then. It has his pointy boots. It has his famous mustache and those amazing full-length tights that he has on. There is some controversy about the color in those tights. Some people say it's orange, some people say it's yellow, some people say the toy's just aged over time. At the end here, you'll see Hillbilly Jim. Unfortunately, he is missing his iconic hat. That is a very common thing that happens with these. You don't typically find Hillbilly Jim with his hat. If you do, I would say definitely pick that up. Overall, this was